morning and welcome to this edition of News Leader. I'm Andrew Todd. In tonight's news, Tullahoma High School has a drama student recognized at state level. The Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame inductee ceremony is coming up next weekend, and we'll run down the list of inductees. We'll have all these stories and more on tonight's News Leader.
I am tremendously blessed to be living at Parkview and very happy to be part of a loving and caring community.
Best thing you can say is this really a great place to live. That's all there is to it, no doubt about that.
It's your home. You just do what you would if you were at your private home. You know, we love it. It's great.
It's just like having a whole neighborhood around you, and it's fun.
It's just a great place to live.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. Recent high school graduate Juliet Orihula's passion is the theater. Whether that is acting on stage or doing behind-the-scenes work, it is clear where her interests lie. Juliet was recently rewarded, and her on-stage skills and vocals were highlighted when she was named a Tennessee All-State Musical Theater member. After the selection, the December graduate has been invited to the All-State Conference held this Saturday at Rockville High School. Juliet said, quote, "It really means that all of the work that I've put in has been recognized. I'm confident in myself, but it's always great to be recognized. I'm really looking forward to the conference and performing there," end quote. During her virtual auditions, Juliet had to perform a monologue and a section of a musical theater song. For her monologue, she performed from Death Comes to Us All. Juliet chose to sing a piece from Grease, one of her favorite musicals, There Are Worse Things I Could Do. Her performance ranked high with the judges, and she was featured as one of the top 25 performers in the state. THS theater teacher Benjamin Spurlock added, quote, "It is stupendous, and it's also an incredible feat that she was able to rank so high in the state during our first attempt at having somebody audition for All-State. We don't have an exact placement on where she finished as far as ranking, but she was invited to perform at the All-State Conference, which is designated for the top 25 performers. It has been fantastic having her. She is truly a godsend. We have been fortunate enough to make this upcoming performance a multiple department production. Jules and I are working with the staging and the set for the musical, while THS choir teacher Miss Melissa Hines is working on the music direction. We have a local choreographer, Ms. Kristen Carroll, and THS co-band director Justin Scott helping with the pit orchestra for a live band for the show. A lot is happening, and I have to say thanks to Jules because she has been helping me keep track of all the moving parts," end quote. When she graduated from Tullahoma High School in December, Juliet continues to stay active and aiding with the theater department. This spring, she is an assistant director for the springtime musical, The Addams Family, slated to take place from April 7th through the 10th. It's been busy for Juliet. She said she's been loving her time working on the production in her new role. She also thanks Spurlock for allowing her to work alongside him to gain that experience. And after these messages, we'll be right back.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family.
Caring.
Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
We tend to lose our motivation when we have something that's chronic, but you've got to do what you can early on as you can. After I'd exercise like that, I would have a lot of energy to do housework or whatever I needed. Well, I would recommend it highly to anyone at any degree of Parkinson.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. News Leader's John Gray recently sat down with Pat Welsh and learned about the Tullahoma Sports Council Hall of Fame and its annual induction ceremony. In this segment, we learn the history of the Hall of Fame and hear about this year's honorary inductees.
Mayor Curley, Lane Curley, set up or instituted a sports council. It was part of a division of the city when it was originally started. There's a room in D.W. Wilson now that has plaques of the past inductees, and now there's a area that's behind glass that's got a lot of their mementos and so forth. It's really
very nice. It's very nice.
The banquet is really, really well done, and they dress up the gym at D.W. Wilson to where you think, well, first I walked in there, I thought, where somebody has sent me Star Trek wise into
New York
another
City.
area. Yeah, it is really, really well done, and this year it's going to be February the 12th. Should be a Saturday. There's a social hour from 5:30 to 6:30. The dinner starts promptly at 6:30, and soon after that meal served, and we start the induction process. It's hosted by Scott Chastain.
Okay, and this is, how many years has that gone on now, Pat?
This would like to have been the fourth, but last year was cut off by COVID.
Right.
This will be the third group.
Is there a committee? How are these people vetted to decide
there is a committee
who goes in?
Jim Bratcher has been the chairman of the Sports Council itself since its inception. It does a great job.
Oh, yeah.
They have about 6 to 8 people. That's a subcommittee of the Sports Council. The names are never released, and though I have seen one in session and know that there's people that are qualified, I feel like, to come up with the credentials and so forth that's necessary to be. And I think if somebody goes down to the community center and looks at that wall, you couldn't argue that they don't deserve to be.
Understood. And how many, is there a limited number per year, or is it just?
The first initial years there was more, and as time goes on, there's going to be fewer. This year's basically is last year's plus maybe 1 or 2 more. I can't remember what the numbers were like, but at some point we'll probably be down to 3 or 4 inductees a year instead of the original 8 or 10 or how much it was at this initial banquet.
Now, have we caught up from the past? Or are we still looking into the past?
No, they're still, and I'm here today to tell you who they are. And give a little description of each. And
wonderful.
You can see that it stretches out down to late 50s, I believe, would be one person would be involved in.
Good. So I guess what's happening this year is because of social distancing and space, and because of some of the people that are being inducted, their seating is going to be kind of limited.
Seated is limited. I believe we've got room for 216. Julia Duncan would have been the honoree for the previous year, and she was a tremendous basketball player and soccer player. I believe she's got the most goals for a career in soccer and the most goals for a season. And basketball, I believe she's the leading scorer all time for Tullahoma, and a tremendous young lady. She's has since signed with Lee University in Cleveland. They're a member of the old Gulf Coast Conference, and she was their freshman of the year in basketball, her freshman year there.
Right.
So we're going to honor her for the year that we're not able to have the banquet.
Right.
This year, Justice Chadwick, which you're well familiar with,
right?
Tremendous kicker, and he was the TSSA's Mr. Football kicker. Now,
right.
All the other positions are divided by classification and whether you're public or private. He's the only kicker for all classifications.
Wow.
And public or private. Also, honorees, Coach Olive, I think, was Coach of the Year for no telling how many different publications and organizations, including the Titans.
More News Leader is coming up in just a moment.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
He's a little bit of you, he's a little bit of me. He's the trash along the roadside of Tennessee. He's the garbage that we find. He's the dream we left behind. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. A throwaway bottle or pop-top can may not seem much to a traveling man, but a little bit of litter goes a long, long way. And I grow and get bigger every day. Tennessee trash messing up the highways. Tennessee trash junking up the byways. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash.
We have met the enemy, and he is us.
Welcome back. We now return to John Gray and Pat Welsh for the first half of the inductees at next weekend's ceremony.
This year's inductees into the Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame.
Correct. The first one is Coach Jerry Mathis. And he probably doesn't need a whole lot of recognition or attributes put forth because most people in town know about him. But he was a teacher coach in the system for 32 years. He was state champion in baseball in 74 and 1974 and 1990. They were state runners-up in 73, 86, and 97. Approximately 600 wins. Not a lot of people knew this, that he coached, early in his career, he coached cross-country, girls initially, and he had a girls team in 1981 that was state runner-up. So he was multifaceted. He was inducted into the TSSAA Hall of Fame in 2004. After he retired, he was athletic director from 99 to 2017. 101 of his players were awarded college scholarships, and he was inducted into the Tennessee Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2000. So he is well.
Congratulations,
Coach Mathis. Second, we would go with Phyllis Hines, and she was both track and field in high school and cycling post high school.
Right.
She was in cross country. I believe she is our only cross country state champion, male or female, and she won the state in 77 after being runner up in 76. She started running also she was runner up in the mile in the track meet her senior year. That was in 78. She started running at Vanderbilt and had a stress fracture, I believe, in her foot, and never did really recover from that. And she went, though, from there to cycling because it wasn't as tough on her foot. And she became, according to one of the magazines that we had, it had an article on her, she was, from the officials of the U.S. cycling team, she was one of the best not only on the team but in the world. And she rode in several women's team cycling events that the U.S. placed high in, and she was one of the number one people. 1988, the women's team finished third in the World Championships. In 1990, they finished second, and in 91, they finished fourth. So she is again both high school and post high school. She was very, very successful. One that you'll know, Eugene London. I didn't realize till 2 or 3 years ago he had a nickname when he was a young person as Jinx, and he was an TSSAA official from 1965 to 2014. That's pretty incredible. He called football, basketball, baseball. He was inducted in the TSSAA Sports Hall of Fame in 2006. He's officiated in high school championships, all 3 sports. He coached in the refereed finals in football, basketball, and baseball. Numerous football playoff games. He was African American before integration, of course. They had there wasn't any association for officials, and so he organized the first African American Official Association in Middle Tennessee and was assigned football games for an awful long time. He even worked several months as the traveling official for the Harlem Globetrotters. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
His son Eugene Jr. told me about that. He was in the National Guard and had a tour in the Middle East during the Middle East wars. And let's go to Marlon Allsup. He's the only one. We have 8 inductees this year. He's the only one that I wasn't really familiar with, and I'm so glad to find out more about him. I started going to ball games, I guess, when I was in the maybe 63, 64 range. But Marlon started playing in '58 at the new school when the high school on Jackson Street first opened up. Of course, he's really well going into his senior year, but in senior year he still owns these single-season scoring records for points, 764 points, and he averaged 28.3 points a game with no three-point line. He was a heck of a player. He holds a gym record at 41 points. Marlon then went on to Belmont and was a 3-year starter for them, averaged over 20 points a game. He was their team co-captain in 64 and 65, 2 times all-conference, 2 times all-tournament. 64, he was a conference player of the year. 65 is honorable mention All-American. And in 65, the student body voted him the best all-around male. That is a man deserving to be in
Yes,
Kellogg
sir.
Sports Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be right back after these commercial messages.
MacArthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at MacArthur Manor, we'll treat you like family.
Caring.
Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at MacArthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
I had a knee replacement, so they've got me in life care, which I'm very, very thankful for. I couldn't garden, I couldn't do my flower beds, I can't chase my little dogs. I have been in several therapy sessions for knees and back, and that's the best therapist I believe I've ever been to. It's tremendous because I'm able to walk again, but if it wasn't for the care, I wouldn't be where I am.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. Now John Gray and Pat Welsh will round out the list of Tullahoma Sports Council Hall of Fame inductees.
Next is John Welsh, and John is the only person that I know that is qualified for 9 individual state tournaments, and he medaled in 6 of them, both a fall sport, a winter sport, and a spring sport. Of his junior and his senior year, he placed in each one of those. Of cross country in the fall, he would have finished his junior and senior year, I believe, was 15th and 5th his senior year. Wrestling, his junior year, he was runner-up at 103 pounds, and he won state title at a senior at the same weight. And then in track, he was 4th place in the 3200 state meet. And in the senior year, he was 7th in the 1600 and 5th in the 3200. And from there, he went to Dartmouth College, which is an Ivy League school, and their football is on the old 1AA level, but all other sports in the Ivy League are Division I, highest level. While he was there, they were ranked in the top 20, I believe, in the country, and won the Ivy League title. In cross country and Division I, there's no limits of how many people you have that are practicing, but most schools would have 25 to 35 runners, and the bigger meets you're allowed to enter 7, and the top 5 are the ones that scoring is placing. And on the Ivy League championship, he was end up being either 3rd or 4th on the team, so he would have been a scoring runner for Ivy League championship, which that may be his most thing he's most proud of. He finished at Dartmouth as a captain of the track and the cross country team for 2 years, and he was academically, he was inducted into Phi Beta Kappa. And from Dartmouth, he went to Stanford and got a PhD in chemical engineering, and has worked since as I believe his title now is principal scientist for Merck. And he may be my son, but he probably deserves at least to be looked at for being inducted.
Where did he get all that intelligence from? Your wife?
The wife's
bloodstream?
Yeah. It didn't come from me. The basketball team of the 64-65 season.
Okay.
That, I believe Tullahoma integrated African Americans that were students that had played and been at Davidson Academy on the south side of Jackson Street.
Right.
We integrated a year or two before anybody else around us. And,
right.
And I think we should be proud of that.
Right.
And both teams had good basketball. Both schools had good basketball teams. So you've got a situation where I'm sure let's be honest, both groups probably wondering how this is going to go. And there's plenty of players from the high school and plenty of players from Davidson Academy that thought, I started last year and now I'm coming back. I wonder what's going to happen. So there's a whole lot of uneasiness or anxiousness that would be coming into this season besides the race issues. But they won 24 wins, which at that time was a school record. Their average margin of victory in those 24 wins was 19 points. They lost 4 games by average of 4 points. And one of those, they beat, every team that beat them, of those 4, made it to the state tournament. All 4 made the state tournament, and Murfreesboro Central won it, and Tullahoma went overtime with them. So what a great year.
Yeah.
And,
they had a great year.
A lot of administrators from Tullahoma at the time, there's people connected with the high school now that I know were told by these older people that integration really went well at Tullahoma High School, but one of the main reasons, and maybe the strongest point, was the basketball team, how well they came together. High school football coach W.C. Cooper.
The Dubber.
The Dubber. He grew up in Knoxville, right across the street from the UT campus, and I think now is where the block that he lived on is now part of the UT campus. He was a great high school football player, and there wasn't many more than 2 high schools, if any more, in Knoxville itself. And his graduating class had 500 in it. And when he went to Knoxville City. When they played Knoxville Central, they played every year at Neyland Stadium on Thanksgiving Day, and most of the time the crowd was between 20 and 30,000 to a high school football game. And his senior and junior year, he was the dominant player. In fact, he wasn't just all-state, he was all-South, which I don't think everybody in Tullahoma really appreciated how good of a football player he was, because they just didn't know.
They didn't know.
Yeah. He signed, of course, with Tennessee. His freshman year would have been the football season of 47. He won 68 games, and until Coach Olive came, I think he was the 19th head coach in that 100-year history. And he was the winningest coach until the 20th caught him. And he had a great career here. Next one is Joe Moon, who you'd be well familiar with. And we don't have a whole lot to say that Joe played baseball to high school, and he finished at Middle Tennessee State. And soon after he was graduated from college, he began to work as one of the supervisors for the D.W. Wilson, or one. He was a rec center supervisor, and then he became the park and recreation director in '88, and he kept that title to 2000. And then he stepped down, but continued to work, I assume, as a director of the center for a little while, and retired in 2015. And the next day he started part-time. And he was just a tireless worker. I'd like to remind people that Again, the banquet is on the 12th of February, social hour at 5:30 to 6:30, and meal promptly right after that.
And I think this might be live streamed.
It will be. Thank you.
Because
I hope
if you
that
can't
takes
go,
some of the sting away for the limit of the tickets. We don't need to apologize for not having many tickets because we won a state championship.
Yeah.
And the football team is deserving to be honored.
there. Yes.
So we don't have many tickets, but it's going to do it live.
And the Hall of Fame ceremony will air here live on Charter Channel 193, along with our YouTube and Facebook pages. The ceremony will go on the air at 6:30 and will run until it finishes. And stay with us, we'll have your weather forecast right after these messages.
I got a tour and I saw all the things and I was so excited about them. And she took me to the movie theater and it had red chairs. This is a done deal and I like it.
We have so many activities here that you just can't keep up with them all. We have exercise, we have coloring, we have crafts.
It's charming, it's attractive, it's very comfortable. It was one of the best decisions of my life.
We're losing it, Doctor!
Not on my shift. Quickly, brush. Roller.
What a transformation! It's gonna be okay!
Okay, nothing.
At Paintworks of Tullahoma, we specialize in domestic emergencies with Martin Senior Paints. You can be the paint doctor too when you treat your home with Martin Senior interior and exterior finishes.
Doctor, we've got another one!
Got you covered.
Paintworks of Tullahoma. Come see the paint doctor, Stat.
There's a lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is, it's safer than going for a run. Give it a shot. Find a free appointment today at covid19.tn.gov.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at your weather forecast at this time, starting with your weather history on this date. Our record high was in 1932 at 72 degrees. Our record low was in 1951 at -9 degrees. The average high for this day is 50, and the average low is 30. Rain and freezing mix for tonight with a low of 29. Mostly cloudy for Friday with a high of 36 and a low of 19. And sunny skies expected for Saturday with a high of 41 and a low of 23. And that's our News Leader report for this evening. We invite you to join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evenings at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. for News Leader. Stay safe and have a great evening.